The man I loved most in my life was also the man who pulled me into the most devastating nightmare. Those were Shirley Jones's bitter words when speaking about her seemingly perfect marriage to Jack Cassidy. Behind the glamorous stage lights and radiant smile of the Hollywood entertainment icon was a wild, passionate love consumed by dark secrets, betrayal, and an insidious illness that slowly destroyed everything.
He taught me everything about everything, including sex. I was a virgin when I married Jack. I was 21 years old.
What drove a brilliant talent from the height of fame straight into a horrifying tragedy at the age of 49? And why, even after everything had been reduced to ashes, did the woman he left behind still call him the deepest wound of her life? The answer will leave you unable to look away.
Our marriage band show, with singers and dancers. But the thing that progressed with Jack was that he was bipolar.
In 1955, Shirley Jones met Jack Cassidy when they both took part in the European tour of Oklahoma. Cassidy played Curly, while Jones played Laurie. At the time, he was already an established actor and singer on the stage, while Jones was continuing to build her name in musical theater.
Miss Shirley Jones.
Their relationship quickly developed beyond the boundaries of their professional work. What made the romance complicated was that Cassidy was still married to actress Evelyn Ward, who had a son, David Cassidy. After that marriage ended, he and Shirley Jones decided to build a life together. Jack Cassidy finalized his divorce from Evelyn Ward in 1956. That same year, he married Shirley Jones on August 5th in Cambridge, Massachusetts. At the time, the two were appearing together in The Beggar's Opera. The wedding marked the transition from co-stars to husband and wife. After their marriage, Cassidy and Jones continued pursuing their stage careers alongside family life. They collaborated on numerous performances and recordings. Cassidy had a distinctive baritone voice, while Jones continued to establish herself in American musical theater. Both maintained demanding professional careers. The couple later had 3 sons, Sean Patrick and Ryan. Alongside raising their 3 biological children, Shirley Jones also became the stepmother of David Cassidy, Jack's son, from his previous marriage. During the early years, the Cassidy family remained closely connected to the entertainment industry. Shirley Jones continued taking on stage and television roles, while Jack Cassidy maintained his work on Broadway and in television programs. The couple also appeared together in several projects, causing their family life and professional careers to frequently overlap. Shirley Jones's career later took a new direction when she was cast in The Partridge Family. The television series premiered in 1970 and quickly became a phenomenon on American television. Jones played Shirley Partridge, while also taking on a central role in a musical family built around performances. The success of The Partridge Family gave Shirley Jones a more prominent position in popular culture. David Cassidy also became a major star through his role as Keith Partridge. This shift created a new dynamic within the family as the names of Jones and Jack's son became increasingly prominent in the public eye. But behind the marriage that had seemed stable, the differences between Shirley Jones and Jack Cassidy were becoming increasingly difficult to conceal. A fractured marriage. In 1970, the success of The Partridge Family made Shirley Jones a familiar face on American television. Meanwhile, Jack Cassidy continued working primarily on stage. Sean Cassidy later said that his father had a large ego and had felt overshadowed by the growing success of his wife and stepson. Differences in their careers were not the only issue. The marriage of Shirley Jones and Jack Cassidy was also affected by outside relationships. Cassidy had told Jones from the beginning that he might be unfaithful after about 9 or 10 years of marriage. Over time, these relationships became a recurring problem. Jack Cassidy's extramarital relationships involved both women and men. Shirley Jones knew about them but continued the marriage for many years. Looking back, she said that she understood her husband's flaws, while her feelings for him remained even as their relationship became increasingly difficult to maintain. Cassidy's mental health problems also became more apparent. He had previously been diagnosed with bipolar disorder, but Shirley Jones did not fully understand his condition until his unusual behavior became increasingly evident. This made family life more difficult to predict. In 1974, Jack Cassidy's unusual behavior began attracting the attention of those around him. Some neighbors reportedly saw him watering the lawn while naked in broad daylight. These behaviors were no longer confined to his private space and began directly affecting people living nearby. Shirley Jones also witnessed an incident that made her recognize the seriousness of his condition. She found Cassidy sitting naked inside the house and reading a book. When asked about it, he calmly said, "I know now that I'm Christ." This was one of the incidents later recalled when Shirley Jones discussed her husband's mental health. In December, Jack Cassidy was hospitalized in a psychiatric facility for 48 hours. It was at this point that Shirley Jones learned more clearly that her husband had previously been diagnosed with bipolar disorder. The information helped her understand the changes in his behavior, but it did not resolve the problems in their marriage. The two lived separately for about 8 months before reconciling. Their reconciliation showed that the marriage had not completely ended, but the old problems continued. Infidelity disagreements in their private life and Cassidy's health issues made their relationship increasingly difficult to sustain. During this time, the relationship between Jack Cassidy and David Cassidy also became strained. David's success in the Partridge Family made him one of the most prominent young faces on American television. Cassidy was reportedly troubled by seeing his son achieve a level of fame that he had not attained in mainstream television. Shirley Jones continued working and caring for the family as the marriage deteriorated. Differences that had once been concealed behind busy performance schedules and professional commitments became increasingly difficult to overlook. Eventually, the two could no longer maintain the life they had shared. In 1975, Shirley Jones and Jack Cassidy officially divorced. Cassidy was the one who initiated the decision to end the marriage. The decision brought nearly 2 decades of marriage to a close, during which they had 3 sons and experienced major changes in their respective careers. After the marriage ended, Jack Cassidy did not leave the spotlight, but continued pursuing his career with a series of notable roles. Jack Cassidy's career. In 1964, one of Jack Cassidy's most important achievements came when he won the Tony Award for Best Featured Actor in a Musical. He was honored for his role as Stephen Cotley in She Loves Me, one of the notable Broadway productions of that era. The role of Stephen Cotley showcased Cassidy's strength in combining acting with his singing ability. The success also strengthened his position on the Broadway stage. The Tony Award became a significant milestone in his career, alongside the numerous stage roles he took on before and after. Cassidy continued to receive Tony nominations in the following years. In 1965, he was nominated for Fade Out, Fade In. A year later, he received another nomination for It's a Bird, It's a Plane, It's Superman. By 1969, he had earned another nomination for Maggie Flynn. Alongside the productions that earned him award recognition, Jack Cassidy also appeared in several other Broadway shows. These included Wish You Were Here, Sandhog, and Shangri-La. His varied roles allowed him to maintain a regular presence on stage and demonstrated the breadth of his performing range. Cassidy also expanded his work into television. One of his memorable contributions came through his appearances as villains in Columbo. He played the murderer in 3 different episodes, becoming one of the actors the series brought back multiple times for roles opposite its central character. Jack Cassidy was not limited to guest appearances and also took on a leading role in He and She. The television series allowed him to further demonstrate his acting ability outside the stage. The role also earned Cassidy an Emmy nomination, adding another significant milestone to his professional record. Another notable television production was The Andersonville Trial. Cassidy joined the project after gaining extensive experience on both stage and screen. These television roles allowed him to maintain a steady presence in the industry, while Broadway remained an important part of his career. Film also became another area in which Cassidy worked, though he had fewer roles there than in theater and television. In 1975, he appeared in The Iger Sanction, a film starring Clint Eastwood. Cassidy played a role opposite Eastwood's character. In 1976, Jack Cassidy continued appearing in W.C. Fields and Me. He portrayed John Barrymore, a real figure in the history of American theater and film. The role allowed Cassidy to draw on his extensive stage experience and his ability to portray figures from the entertainment world. Beyond acting, Jack Cassidy's baritone voice was one of the most distinctive features of his career. He regularly participated in musical recordings connected to the productions in which he performed. Many original cast recordings featured his voice. His singing ability prevented Cassidy from being confined to a single field. He could move between Broadway television, film, and recording while maintaining his position as a professional performer. This is also why his career is often evaluated across multiple fields rather than through a single role. By the mid-1970s, Jack Cassidy was still active in the entertainment industry. The Iger Sanction and W.C. Fields and Me were both made not long before his death. This showed that Cassidy's career was still continuing, and that he had not stepped away from the performing world. Still, his success on stage and screen did not fully reflect Jack Cassidy's private life. After divorcing Shirley Jones, he lived alone and continued to face health problems and issues with alcohol use. These difficulties increasingly affected his life. His career continued, but Jack Cassidy's private life became increasingly unstable, leading into a turbulent final period. The final years. After the divorce, Jack Cassidy lived alone in a penthouse at 1221 North Kings Road in West Hollywood. His private life at that point was significantly different from the years he had spent living with his family. Cassidy continued working in entertainment while his health and personal problems became increasingly noticeable. Jack Cassidy's bipolar disorder continued to affect his daily life and behavior. His problems with alcohol use also became more serious. People who encountered Cassidy during the final period of his life noted various erratic behaviors while he continued trying to maintain his performing career. These problems came after the marriage had ended, but the connection between Cassidy and Shirley Jones had not completely disappeared. The two remained in contact at certain times. Jones later said that Cassidy still had moments when he wanted to return to her even after their marriage had officially ended. On December 11, 1976, Jack Cassidy called Shirley Jones and invited her to have a drink with him. Jones declined the invitation. Cassidy later arranged to meet singer Donna Theodore. The events of that evening were later recalled as people examined the final hours of his life. Cassidy and Donna Theodore went to a nightclub. According to accounts given later, Cassidy displayed unusual behavior there. After leaving the venue, he returned to his apartment in West Hollywood. It was the last time Jack Cassidy was seen alive. At home, Cassidy smoked and then fell asleep on a naugahyde sofa. A cigarette was believed to have fallen while he was asleep and started a fire. The flames quickly spread through the apartment, creating a serious fire while no one else was there with him. Early in the morning of December 12, 1976, Jack Cassidy's body was found near the entrance of the apartment. His body had suffered such severe burns that visual identification was nearly impossible. Authorities then had to rely on other identifying characteristics to determine his identity. Dental records were used during the identification process. In addition, a family Cassidy ring became an important identifying detail that helped establish the identity of the person who had died in the fire. The final result confirmed that the victim was Jack Cassidy, who was 49 years old and still active in the entertainment industry. The cause of death was determined to be severe thermal burn injuries. The fire was believed to have started from the cigarette Cassidy had smoked before falling asleep. His final moments did not take place on a stage, as his career was coming to an end. He died inside his own apartment following an unexpected fire. Jack Cassidy's death came only about a year after he and Shirley Jones finalized their divorce. During that short period, he continued appearing in artistic projects, including W.C. Fields and Me, released in 1976. His career therefore ended while he was still involved in active professional work. After his death, Jack Cassidy was cremated. According to his wishes, his ashes were scattered over the Pacific Ocean. This fulfilled Cassidy's personal wishes and concluded the final arrangements following the sudden death of an artist who had spent many years working in Broadway television and film. Jack Cassidy's sudden death brought his life to an end, but Shirley Jones's words about him continued to be remembered for decades afterward. Shirley's final words. After Jack Cassidy passed away, Shirley Jones continued to speak about him in interviews. Her comments focused not only on their ended marriage, but also revealed the special place Cassidy continued to hold in her life. Jones once called him the love of her life, and the person who had the greatest influence on her. Shirley Jones also acknowledged that her feelings for Jack Cassidy existed alongside the flaws she knew well. She did not deny the problems that had contributed to the breakdown of their marriage, but Jones's view of Cassidy after his death was not defined solely by the conflicts between them. One of Shirley Jones's most frequently cited statements came in 1983. Speaking about her relationship with her first husband, she said that Jack wanted to come back to her until the day he died. Jones also admitted that she still wanted him, while wondering whether her married life would have been different if Cassidy were still alive. That statement reflected the way Shirley Jones looked back on the marriage years later. She did not try to deny the difficulties they had faced, but she also did not view them as the entire story. In Jones's memory, Cassidy was both a husband with many problems and a person who had a profound influence on her life. Jones once described Jack Cassidy as a knight in shining armor, and said that he had taught her many things about life and love. The way she expressed it showed that Cassidy's image in her personal memory was far more complicated than what could be seen through their 1975 divorce. Jack Cassidy's legacy after his death was also directly connected to his family. According to published information, Cassidy's will left assets to his 3 sons, with Shirley Jones, Sean Patrick, and Ryan. David Cassidy, his son, with Evelyn Ward, received little or no significant share of the estate. The estate also led to a legal dispute involving a $50,000 insurance policy. The case continued for several years and eventually reached the California Supreme Court. In 1984, the ruling favored Jack Cassidy's estate, with the court considering the terms of the previous divorce agreement between Cassidy and Jones. Another part of Cassidy's legacy was the recognition of his contributions to the entertainment industry. In 2005, Jack Cassidy was approved for a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. As of August 2026, the star had still not been installed, with funding considered an obstacle. Meanwhile, the Cassidy family continued to maintain a connection to his legacy. Sean Cassidy has spoken about his father in numerous interviews. His more recent comments show that he views Jack Cassidy, frankly acknowledging that his father had a large ego and was not always a good father. Sean also stated that he would not change the father he had. This perspective echoes one aspect of Shirley Jones's comments. Jack Cassidy is remembered for both his strengths and his limitations. The family remembers not only his career but also the person behind the public image. Patrick and Ryan also continued to have connections to the entertainment industry and often spoke about the influence their father left behind. Stories about Cassidy therefore remained part of the family, particularly when members looked back on his professional history and personal life. Shirley Jones is now 92 years old and no longer works regularly in entertainment. She has retired and continues to live near her son, Sean. The family still maintains a tradition of gathering each year, creating a connection that has continued for decades after Jack Cassidy's death. Jack Cassidy left behind a notable career, but his story is not limited to his roles or awards. Through Shirley Jones's accounts and the comments from his children, a more complex image of the artist continues to be remembered decades after his death. Some things only become clearer as time passes. And Jack Cassidy's story still contains many details worth exploring. If you want to continue following lesser-known stories behind the lives of the stars, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and join us for the next videos.